If you're a man and you're over 60 years old, I want you to pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you. Because what you do in the privacy of your room, yes, that thing you might be embarrassed to talk about, even with your doctor, could be determining how many more years you're going to live, and above all, how you're going to live them. 2 weeks ago, Don Miguel walked into my office, 68 years old, looking at me with that mix of shame and worry that I've seen hundreds of times. "Doctor," he said, "I need to ask you something, but I don't know how to start." He fidgeted uncomfortably in his chair. And that's when I knew exactly what he wanted to talk about, something that almost all men wonder about but few dare to ask. "I'm Dr. Sofía Ramírez. I've been treating men like you for 25 years. And today, we're going to talk without taboos, without beating around the bush, as if we were alone in my office. The truth about ejaculation and your prostate is much more surprising than you imagine. That small gland, the size of a walnut down there, the one you might not even think about until it starts causing problems, could be the key to understanding why some men reach 80 with enviable health, while others battle cancer starting at 60. And the most shocking part is that the answer might be in something as simple and natural as how often you ejaculate. Yes, just as you heard it, and don't blush, this is pure hard science. Don Miguel nearly fell out of his chair when I explained what I'm about to share with you now. But first, let me tell you something that will make you think. Imagine your prostate is like a small factory. It's there, right below your bladder, working day and night. Its main job is to produce that clear, sticky fluid that forms part of semen. The prostatic fluid is not just anything. It's a nutritious cocktail full of zinc, citric acid, vital enzymes, all designed to protect and transport sperm on their journey. But here's the interesting part. The prostate doesn't work alone. It's like an orchestra where each instrument has its role. The seminal vesicles, those two little sacs attached to the prostate, provide most of the volume, a sweet fluid rich in sugars to give energy to the sperm. And the testicles? Well, they contribute just 1% of the total volume, but it's the most important 1%, the sperm themselves. All of this mixes in a perfect symphony to form semen. And when the moment of ejaculation arrives, oh friend, that's where the magic happens. It's a fascinating process in 2 acts like a play. First comes the emission phase. All these fluids gather in the urethra, waiting like actors behind the curtain, ready to go on stage. Then, with the right stimulation, comes the second act, expulsion. The pelvic floor muscles contract with impressive force and launch everything outward. It's a perfect ballet that depends on impeccable communication between nerves and muscles. That's why when Don Miguel asked me if diabetes could affect this, I told him yes, absolutely yes. Diabetes can damage those delicate nerves and alter the entire process. But what Don Miguel really wanted to know, and what you're probably wondering too, is if holding back is bad, if accumulating semen can be harmful. And here's where things get interesting. The direct answer is no. There's no evidence that not ejaculating causes a serious illness by itself. But wait, don't go yet, because that doesn't mean it's without consequences. Think of it like a river. When the water doesn't flow, it stagnates, becomes murky and heavy. Something similar happens in your prostate, especially if you're one of those men who suffers from chronic prostatitis, that persistent and sometimes painful inflammation of the gland. A low frequency of ejaculation can worsen the symptoms. It can increase that feeling of pelvic congestion, that uncomfortable pressure that won't leave you alone. In fact, and this is fascinating, a study from as far back as 1999 observed something revealing. Men with chronic prostatitis who increased their ejaculation frequency, whether through relations with a partner or masturbation, reported significant relief from their symptoms. It's as if ejaculating clears the ducts, reduces pressure, and decreases inflammation. Don Miguel looked at me with wide eyes when I explained this. "Doctor, but I thought it was bad," he said. "No, Don Miguel," I replied. "What's bad is not listening to your body." And there's something else that many don't consider, something I discovered recently in a 2023 study published in the journal Sleep Disorders. Sleep quality. It turns out that ejaculating releases a cocktail of hormones, prolactin, oxytocin, endorphins, all of which induce relaxation and deep sleep. Men who had regular sexual activity, especially when it ended in orgasm, slept better. They woke up less during the night and woke up more rested. So, beyond pleasure, an active sex life can be the best natural sleep aid there is. And it's free. But now, hold on tight, because here comes the part I know many are waiting for. the million-dollar question. Does ejaculating infrequently increase the risk of prostate cancer? Or put another way, does ejaculating more protect you? Science has been asking this question for decades, and the findings are, at minimum, surprising, impactful, revealing. Let me take a sip of water, and meanwhile, if this information seems valuable to you, if you feel this is something more men should know, do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it with that friend or family member who needs to hear this. It's free for you, and for me, it means the world. It helps me keep creating honest content about health. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, let's continue with what Harvard University discovered, the largest and most important study on this topic. They followed nearly 32,000 men for 18 years. 32,000, can you imagine? It's like tracking an entire city. And what they found changed the way we understand prostate health. Those men who reported ejaculating 21 times or more per month, yes, you heard right, 21 or more, had up to a 33% lower risk of developing prostate cancer. 33% lower compared to those who ejaculated 4 to 7 times a month. That's a huge difference. It's as if nature is telling us something important. And here's a key fact I want you to etch into your mind. It didn't matter how the ejaculation was achieved. It made no difference whether with a partner, through masturbation, in the early morning, or at noon. The protective effect seemed tied to the physical act of ejaculation itself. Not to sexual activity, not to romance, not to having a partner, but simply to the fact of ejaculating. Don Miguel could hardly believe it. "Doctor, but I'm a widower," he said sadly. "That doesn't matter, Don Miguel," I replied. "Your health doesn't depend on having a partner. It depends on taking care of yourself." And I saw his eyes light up with hope. Other studies have confirmed these findings. A study in 2017, a large meta-analysis in 2018, all pointing in the same direction. Higher frequency, lower risk. The consistency of the results is so strong, so clear, that it forces us to ask, why does this happen? What's the secret mechanism behind this protection? And here's where it gets fascinating. There's no single answer, but the scientific community has several hypotheses, like pieces of a puzzle. The first and most intuitive is what we call the flushing hypothesis. Think of your prostate as a sponge with small ducts. Over time, potentially harmful substances, carcinogens from the environment, from tobacco if you smoke, from processed foods, can accumulate in the prostatic fluid. Each ejaculation acts like a cleaning, a rinse that expels these substances before they have time to damage the cells. If you don't ejaculate frequently, these toxins stay in contact with the prostate tissue longer, increasing the likelihood of mutations, changes in DNA that could eventually lead to a tumor. It's like washing dishes. If you leave them dirty for too long, bacteria grow, they stick, and become hard to remove. The second theory has to do with hormones, and this is crucial. Frequent ejaculation might help maintain a healthier hormonal balance within the prostate, regulating levels of testosterone and other androgens. When these levels are balanced, cell growth stays under control. But when they are imbalanced, cells can start growing unchecked, and that's where problems begin. A third idea that I personally find brilliant is that sexual activity acts similarly to physical exercise. It stimulates the immune system, that army of defenders we have inside. And it doesn't just defend against viruses and bacteria, it also defends against cancerous cells. An active and alert immune system is more effective at detecting and eliminating abnormal cells before they become a serious problem. And finally, the muscular contractions during orgasm, those rhythmic and powerful contractions, improve blood flow throughout the pelvic area, reduce local inflammation, and decrease oxidative stress, that silent enemy that ages our cells. All of this creates an environment less conducive to cancer development. Don Miguel interrupted me at this point. "Doctor, then how many times do I have to ejaculate per month?" 21, like the study says. And here, I want to be very clear, extremely clear, because this is fundamental. That number of 21 times is not a medical prescription. It's not a goal you should force yourself to meet. It's not a competition. Sexual health doesn't work that way. It's not like taking a pill 3 times a day. The ideal frequency for each man is completely personal, unique, individual. It depends on your age, your overall health, Whether you have a partner or not, your energy level, your mood, your medications, your stress level, the list is endless. Forcing yourself to reach a number can generate anxiety, stress, frustration, and that's counterproductive for your health. It's worse than the disease itself. What these studies tell us is not that we must become machines, but that a sexually active life, a regular frequency of ejaculation, seem to be components of a healthy lifestyle that protects the prostate. The key, and this is what I told Don Miguel and what I'm telling you, is to listen to your body. Find your own rhythm, without pressure, without guilt, without comparing yourself to anyone. Your body will tell you what it needs. You just have to learn to listen. And now let me ask you something. What do you think of all this? Does it surprise you, relieve you, worry you? Leave your opinion in the comments. I'd love to hear different perspectives, different experiences. And while you're writing, don't forget to drink a glass of water. Hydration is also essential for prostate health. But wait, because now comes a crucial topic that worries many men, especially those who've already had prostate problems. What happens to my ejaculation if I have surgery? This question gets asked almost every day, and the answer isn't simple because it depends on the type of surgery. First, let's talk about the most common surgery, the one for benign prostate enlargement. That frequent condition where the prostate grows and grows until it squeezes the urethra, causing difficulty urinating. Don Roberto, another of my patients, 72 years old, came to my office because he couldn't sleep anymore. He was getting up 6 or 7 times a night to urinate, and when he went, only a few drops came out. It was torture. In these cases, the surgery aims to unclog the pipe. The internal tissue causing the obstruction is removed, but the outer capsule of the prostate is left. It's like peeling an orange from the inside but leaving the peel. And here's the most common consequence, retrograde ejaculation. What does that mean? I'll explain it simply. During orgasm, the semen, instead of being expelled outward, goes backward into the bladder. This happens because the surgery alters that small gate, the internal sphincter, that normally closes to prevent this. It's like the door separating 2 rooms no longer closes properly. And here's something very important to understand. You'll still have orgasms. The sensation of pleasure will be exactly the same. Erections shouldn't be affected. You simply won't see the semen come out. Don Roberto looked at me worriedly when I explained this before his surgery. "Doctor, but then am I no longer a man?" he asked. "No, Don Roberto," I said, taking his hand. "You're still the same man. Your body just works a little differently. This semen that goes into the bladder causes no problems. It gets eliminated completely harmlessly with urine. It's like taking a different path to exit, nothing more. Many men adapt perfectly to this, and their sex life continues to be satisfying. But the second type of surgery is very different, much more radical, the one done when there's prostate cancer, the radical prostatectomy. Here, the goal is to save a life, to cure the cancer, and for that, the entire prostate is removed along with the seminal vesicles. It's like demolishing the entire factory, not just emptying it. By removing these organs, semen production disappears completely. There's no factory anymore, no production. Therefore, after this surgery, there's no ejaculation, none at all. You can still feel the orgasm, what we call a dry orgasm, that sensation of climax, of pleasure, but there won't be any expulsion of fluid. And here, I must be honest. This surgery is much more complex and has 2 important risks that I can't omit. Urinary incontinence, losing control of urine, and erectile dysfunction, the difficulty or impossibility of having erections. This happens because the nerves responsible for erections run right next to the prostate, like electrical cables along a wall, and they can get damaged during surgery. Don Carlos, 65 years old, prostate cancer detected early, asked me with tears in his eyes, "Doctor, is it worth living like this?" And I answered him with all the honesty in the world. "Don Carlos, the question isn't if it's worth living like this. The question is if it's worth living." And with modern techniques, robotic surgery, millimeter precision, many times we can preserve those nerves. We can save the function. Not always, but many times, yes. After everything we've discussed, after all these facts, these stories, these fears and hopes, I want you to take away one clear and powerful idea. There is no magic formula to prevent prostate cancer. There's no miracle diet, no secret supplement, no magic number of ejaculations that will save you. The most powerful tool you have, the only one that can really make the difference between life and death, is prevention through medical checkups. Get your annual checkups with a urologist. Measure your prostate-specific antigen, that famous PSA everyone talks about. Get the rectal exam when your doctor recommends it, even if it's embarrassing. That's what can really save your life, because it allows detecting any problem when there's still time to do something. Don Miguel came back to my office a month after our first conversation. "Doctor," he said with a smile, "I already made my appointment with the urologist. And you know what? I'm not embarrassed to talk about these things anymore. I told my domino friends, and it turns out they all had the same doubts." "That's it, Don Miguel," I said. "That's breaking the silence that kills." Now, maintaining a regular frequency of ejaculation seems beneficial. The studies are clear on that. But take it as one more piece in a much larger puzzle. What are the other pieces? The ones that have been scientifically proven to be crucial. First, don't smoke. Tobacco is poison for your prostate, for your lungs, for your whole body. If you smoke, quit. Not tomorrow, today. Second, maintain a healthy weight. That beer belly isn't just an aesthetic problem. It's inflammation. It's risk. It's disease waiting to happen. Third, eat well. More vegetables, more fruits, more fish, less red meat, less processed foods, less sugar. Your prostate will thank you, and above all, move. Sedentary lifestyle is one of the biggest enemies of your prostate health and overall health. You don't need to run marathons, walk 30 minutes a day, climb stairs, dance with your wife, play with your grandchildren. It all counts. Don Roberto once told me, "Doctor, since I started walking every morning, not only do I urinate better, I feel 20 years younger." And here's a crucial warning. Be very careful with internet charlatans, those who promise miracle cures, who sell magic potions, expensive supplements, treatments without scientific basis. Health is something serious, too serious to leave in the hands of smoke and mirror sellers. If someone promises to cure your prostate with green smoothies, with magnets, with prayers, with anything not backed by science, run. Don't waste your money, and more importantly, don't waste your time. Time is the only thing we can't get back. And when we're talking about cancer, time is life. After 25 years in this profession, after seeing thousands of men come through my office, I've learned something fundamental. The men who age best, who reach 80 with a smile, aren't the ones who found the secret formula. They're the ones who took control of their health. The ones who weren't ashamed to talk, to ask, to take care of themselves. Your prostate isn't your enemy. It's part of you. And like any part of your body, it needs attention, care, respect. Don't ignore it until it hurts. Don't wait until it's too late. Prevention isn't cowardice, it's intelligence, it's self-love, it's responsibility to those who love you. Don Carlos, the one with cancer, sent me a photo last month. He's at the beach with his grandchildren building sandcastles. With his surgery behind him, with his limitations, but alive, present, happy. That's what matters. Being here, being able to hug, to laugh, to live one more day. If you want to know more about how to interpret PSA results, what to expect on your first visit to the urologist, how to talk about these topics with your doctor without dying of embarrassment, I have other videos on my channel where I explain everything with the same care and clarity. Without taboos, without mysteries, just science and heart. And before I say goodbye, let me tell you something personal. Making these videos, sharing this information, it's not just my job, it's my mission. Because every man who gets his checkups, who loses the fear, who takes control, is a victory. It's a father who'll see his children grow, a grandfather who'll meet his grandchildren, a man who'll age alongside his partner. That's why I ask you, if this video has helped you, if it's cleared up doubts, if it's taken away fears, share it. Send it to that stubborn friend who doesn't want to go to the doctor, to that brother who acts tough, to that neighbor who suffers in silence. You don't know the good you can do. An uncomfortable conversation today can save a life tomorrow. And subscribe to the channel, not for me, but for you. To keep learning, to keep taking care of yourself. to not miss information that could change your life. Hit the like button if you think more men need to hear this. And above all, comment. Tell me your experiences, your doubts, your fears. You're not alone in this. We're a community, and together, we're stronger. Your health isn't negotiable, it isn't postponable, it isn't optional. It's the only thing you really have. Without it, everything else loses meaning. So make the decision today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not after the holidays. Today. Make that appointment, get that exam, have that conversation. Your body is waiting for you. It's ready to respond. You just need to take the first step. And that step isn't backward with fear, it's forward with courage. Because taking care of yourself isn't for cowards, it's for the brave. And you're braver than you think. Don Miguel discovered it. Don Roberto discovered it. Don Carlos discovered it. Now it's your turn. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay silent, or are you going to take control? The decision, like your health, is in your hands. Until next time. And remember, your best doctor is yourself.